Hi everyone. Today we will try to discuss about the feature PCDs in the EDK2. Okay, so before we go to EDK2, so let's come back to our native C programming, right? So here probably I will create some header file called maybe hash include um, some header.h. Okay, and in that header probably it is going to contain the feature flags. Okay, so I will create that header hash define feature flag 1, right? And I will by default I'm going to enable this. Okay, so here what I'm going to do, so if that feature flag is enabled, right? So then I will print something called enabled. Okay, so now I will run this. Now we will get the enabled text here. And now when I disable this, then we will get just hello world. So this block of statement is not getting executed, right? So now in the EDK2 we cannot include or we cannot control the features based on the header file, right? So then how are we going to control that feature based PCDs in the EDK2, right? So let's come back to our EDK2 code. Okay, we will go back to our emulator package, emulator package.dec. Okay, so now here we have one section header called the PCD's feature flag. Okay, so this feature flag by default or it is always going to be contain a boolean, either it's a true or a false. Okay, so now let's define our a feature PCD random. Okay, so now by default I'm going to enable this, and this is a type of boolean always. And then we have to give the token value, right? So let's have next value, which is 1. Okay, so now we need to access this PCD, right? So now let's pick our any of the EDK2 module, right? Or maybe API modules, right? So let's see. Okay, so here we have our different modules, right? So now let's pick any random driver. Maybe let's pick this autoscan PI. Okay. So now in this autoscan PI, let's define the feature PCD section header, feature PCD. Okay. So now which is the feature which we wanted to use? So we wanted to use this PCD random, which is defined in the emulator package token space GUID. So let's copy this and then here I will paste this. Okay. So now our feature name is PCD random. Okay. So now let's go back to its C file and here let's see whether the PCD library is getting included here or not. It is not. So let's include this library slash pcdlib.h. Okay. So now here for now what I'm going to do. So if feature PCD get, okay. So what is the feature, which is the PCD which we wanted? PCD a random, right? So if this PCD is enabled, probably then what I'm going to do, so I'm going to halt the boot so that it will not proceed further. Okay. So now, so what it is doing, so it is ultimately get the a boolean value of the token name, which is random PCD. Okay. So now let's build it. EDK setup. Then we will do build. We will wait for a moment. Okay, it is builded. So now we'll go back to build folder, emulator package, debug, x64, and then we will run the winhost. Okay. So now here we can see the boot is halted after printing this debug line, which is mo autoscan pi loaded. So this is where we have added our debug print, right? So now let's try to disable the feature PCDs, right? So now I will go back to the DAC. So now what is the default value? It is true, right? So now here I'm going to define this as a false. Okay. So now I will run again. I will build again first. Okay. So now I will run again winhost.exe. Now we can see it is successfully booted to UEFI shell. Okay. So now what exactly it is happening, right? So now what is the module which we have picked, which is autoscan PI. So let's go back to our build folder, x64, emulator package, autoscan, debug, autogen.c. Okay. So now let's search for our PCD name, which is this PCD random. Okay. So now in this autogen.c file, so we have a constant of a type boolean, right? So the value is nothing but a PCD value, a random. Okay. So now this is what we found in the autogen.c and in the autogen.h, right? So this is a value, a boolean with a value 0, right? So when the PCD lib, right? So let's go back to our PCD lib.h and here feature PCD get. So if I search this in the autogen.h, what exactly it is happening? So ultimately it is a preprocessor directive and it is going to get the value from here, right? And now where this value is coming from? So this value is ultimately coming from this autogen.c, right? So now this value is ultimately coming from this PCD value, which which is defined in the autogen.h, which is here and with a value 0. Okay. So now in the next video, what we will try to do, so we will try to disable this feature at the DSC level. Okay. So that's it for today. Thank you.